Gracie will do she's going to watch. So, so yeah, if you have anyone on your side watching, then we'll let somebody give us a thumbs up so that they can see it live. So
sure, let me just.
All right. Okay, Gracie, Ruth, thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, and actually good evening there in India. So thank you for joining us live. This live is powered by Rever, and Rever is my brand ambassador, which I truly appreciate. And if you want to learn more about how to empower your frontline workforce, then you can go to reverscore.com. And I am so honored to have Dhairya join us all the way from India. And it's 9:30 at night, correct, Dhairya?
You're absolutely correct, Bruce. The pleasure is all mine, and it's always good to interact with people from across the globe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is such a powerful thing with LinkedIn. I don't know about you, but I've grown a global distribution here, particularly in the last 6 months. So I just wanted to also set the scene that we met through Tisha Maria Pelletier, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
right.
on one of her posts. Yeah, LinkedIn post.
Right. So yeah, it's true. So if people don't believe in the power of engaging on LinkedIn posts, then that's how Dhairya and I met, was through engagement, and through that I learned that Tisha was your first guest on a podcast that you run, correct?
Right. That's right. She was.
Yeah, and I think you've been running the podcast for what, 3 months now over there?
Right, right. It isn't my personal venture, but I'm doing it for like a social venture here in India, back in India. And yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of a while now, and it's amazing. I mean, I like to explore the sides of what you're doing. I mean, the tables turn around when I do it, but I really enjoy it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I've been really intrigued with some of your posts, and if you've not been seeing Dhairya's posts, I would highly recommend you do that. Dhairya is a motivational up and coming leader there in India, and she is always encouraging her network and other networks to do what we call upskilling, or doing personal development. So Dhairya, why don't you talk a little bit about that, and also your new adventure with KPMG, right?
Yeah, right. Sure. So just to give the viewers a bit of a background, I'm an electronics and communication graduate. I graduated this year, 2020 pass out. And so I'm working with KPMG as an SAP analyst. That's my first job into the corporate world, first stint. It's been about a month that I've been working with them in the management consulting department. And as a person, when it comes to answering the first part of Bruce's question, um, I mean, LinkedIn was something which I stumbled upon 2 years ago, but I wasn't really using it effectively until about 3 months back, Bruce. Just to let you know.
Well, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, I mean, maybe I wasn't engaging with other people's content. I wasn't creating content myself, and I wasn't active on LinkedIn. I was just a passive user. And just one fine day, I was like, I really need to at least post something, whatever is there in my head, just pour out my emotions and just go for it. And I did that, and I started getting a good response, and I felt good myself because I was able to impact and reach out so many people. LinkedIn has such an amazing organic reach, right? So I was just so that's how my journey on content creation and LinkedIn began, and then it moved on more towards using my challenges and my setbacks as a kind of a motivation for others to seek inspiration from, if they can, or maybe at least understand that things are possible, because I've been through certain situations, and if people can resonate with it, maybe they can succeed and get that inspiration. And that's when I started creating motivational content and content about upskilling yourself, staying relevant with the changing and fast-paced times, and what you should be doing as a fresher. You're just passing out fresh out of college, and because of COVID, we all know there have been a lot of um, backsets, right? When it comes to setbacks and backsets, when it comes
Hmm.
to just jobs, but a lot of businesses have just shut down in total, and there's been a lot of disruption, right? So I just wanted to start mentoring and helping people in any way, and I continue to do that alongside my full-time job at KPMG, and
Hmm.
so far it's been good. It's going good. Yeah,
Right. So KPMG, I of course are supportive in that, right?
right.
Well, that's good. So, yeah, so there's a lot of ladies that are in the STEM arena, science, technology, engineering, and maths. So I think that's probably your original background, right? So,
Yes.
right. So how does somebody with such a technical degree, I mean, what are the things that you've been learning to be able to bridge over to consulting in SAP? And for those of you that don't know, SAP is typically a multi-site business system software. So, and KPMG are one of the top four global consulting companies out there. So that was a big step. So tell us about how that worked for you.
Sure. Um, so I've shared this a couple of times, but just for your viewers to know,
Mm-hmm.
I got into electronics and communication engineering because I didn't want to do coding. So I didn't want to get into a programming or a technical role. So I didn't want to do computer science. I was very clear on that. And when I started, exploring the field of electronics, I quite liked it. It was not something which I wasn't able to do maybe or get good grades at, but I did realize very early on that it wouldn't be like a future prospective career field for me to do it for the rest of my life. So
Uh-huh.
I was fortunate enough to understand that in my second year of engineering. So I had 2 years in hand to maybe upskill myself or just get acquainted to the other options that I had. And as you just said, very rightly pointed out that it's a very technical oriented domain, right? Engineering in itself, no matter which field you do it in. And transitioning to something like a management field like consulting is pretty difficult. But I was fortunate enough that firstly, my college had these big four coming in for on-campus
Mm-hmm.
recruitment. I cannot deny that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I guess I prepared well for it and well in advance. So I started doing these internships in the management domain. I started discovering how do you interact with people, how do you improvise on your communication skills, how do you network, how do you build on your strong problem solving skills because you need that as a consultant. You're doing that every day. You're solving problems for your clients. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, critical thinking and logical reasoning, I worked on that, did a couple of courses, um, spoke to people who were already industry leaders in the consulting domain or my seniors, right, at back in college. And that's how I worked around it. And luckily, I mean, I got through the campus placements with an internship offer along with a full-time job offer with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it all went about. Coming to the SAP field, I'm myself a very, very budding SAP enthusiast, is all that I can call myself because it's a huge ocean, and people with even 14 years of experiences, like my bosses tell me that there's still so much for them to explore. You can only imagine that how much would I have discovered in 1 month. So I'm not very well there, and not I don't know a couple of things. But yes, I've just started getting to know what it is and how it seamlessly helps businesses in their operations and management. And it's quite interesting to know how these softwares actually make the organization's life easier.
Right. So that's awesome. So I just want to say hello to Gracie. Oh, hi, Asia did join us. So
Right.
Asia, just so you know, Dhairya is a woman in leadership. She's just taken on her first I guess, management role with KPMG, and she was from a technical background. So we were just talking a little bit about STEM, which I know is an interest of yours, Asia. So I think you guys are going to get on great when you connect. So that's
Looking forward to it.
yeah, I'd already mentioned that to Daria on a message yesterday that if you didn't join, I was going to hook you guys up. So yeah. So for the people that are watching this, if you've not come across Dhairya's content before, she has some really good videos out there posted on some of her journey and some of the upskills that she's already learned. So what would be probably the top 3 things, Dhairya, that you've done in upskilling that might help other people that want to make a transition?
Sure. The first one was actually identifying my strength, because people don't really consider it as upskilling. But to be able to upskill, there's a prerequisite, and the first step, the baby step towards it, is actually understanding where your area of interest lies. What are you good at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So finding out what I was good at was the first thing, and that's what people should do. The second one would be trying to apply those skills in the real life, because today I believe any organization, even if you're starting your own startup, all right, per se, you need to have some kind of experience to back you up. And by experience, I don't just mean the educational, theoretical knowledge that you gain, but a real time exposure via an internship, an industrial training, or something that you can put to practice, a life project, a research project, a global fellowship, whatever it may be, right? In your area of interest, where everything that you've maybe learned via various resources, you actually put it to use, you put it in action, and you see that how do you apply it, right? That would be the second thing. And the third thing would be to always be updated and relevant with the time. And the only way you can do that is at least being aware of the technologies which are up and coming, of the different things that are happening in your industry, at least in your niche and in your domain, and trying to at least get your basics cleared around it from time to time. If you can't maybe, be at the top of your game, but you
Mm-hmm.
can always maintain a balance by knowing what's happening around you. So that
Right.
helps you upskill fast and become agile.
Sure. So I'm curious, when you said know your top skills, did you do one of the well-known assessments, or how did you do that for yourself?
To be very honest, I did not go through any psychometric test or any of the assessments of sorts. But
Mm-hmm.
it was trial and error. Let's put
Mm-hmm.
it that way. It was trial and error, and how the trial and error actually came into picture was that when I did my first internship, right, I did it in a business development role, a BD role, right,
Mm-hmm.
wherein I was sitting in business and clients and leads for a particular Abu Dhabi-based startup, right? It was in
Mm-hmm.
the Middle East, and that's when I realized that okay, this is what goes into this domain. And then I did something in marketing, then I did something in content writing, right? So when I started exploring different domains, Bruce, what happened was while transitioning and actually being in those roles, I realized what I was good at and what I was not good at. So I was able to differentiate it myself. So it
Okay.
did take me like a journey of about 10 internships to figure what I'm good at, but that's how I figured it out.
Right. Well, self-discovery is a good way, because that's that's how to get to know self. But you may or may not be aware of this. There is actually a really helpful. It's sponsored by the Gallup poll organization. It's been out there for a long time, and it's called Strengths Finder 2. So I would highly recommend people, if they've not heard about that. It's very affordable, and you can do it online. And I'm not a sponsor of them. I just know that when I took the Strengths Finder 2 assessment myself, it really helped me clarify what my top 5 skills and talents are. And
Right,
you can opt in for the summary report, which is a really nice summary. And I find it to be very accurate, and it actually saved me a lot of time, because I have wasted a lot of my prior career time working on the wrong things with the wrong skills, because they weren't really my top 5 skills. So once I started doing that, I found it was really cool. So anyway, let me welcome a couple other people. Hi, Charles. I don't think we've spoken before. Hi, Jeanette. Hey, Jeanette is a relatively new LinkedIn live presenter. seen some of your stuff, Jeanette. It's pretty cool. Keep going. Keep hustling. So we're not able to answer questions live, but between Dhairya and I, we will go back and answer questions. So if you have any observation for this real live women in leadership over there in India, it's almost 10 p.m. there, right?
15 minutes. It's going to be 10 p.m. It's 9:45 p.m. Yeah.
So Dhairya's being kind enough to, she's actually going to have a late dinner to be on this on this interview tonight. So I really appreciate that from you. So you said you did 10 different internships. Did I hear that correctly?
Actually, I've done about 20.
Oh,
I mentioned
wow.
that. Yeah.
And
so 10 was like the span where I realized what I'm good at. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how long did those internships typically last, Dhairya, for you?
So a couple of them were the minimum duration was a month, and the maximum duration was about 3 months, and the latest one with KPMG was for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so majority of between 1 to 3 months.
Right. Well, it's interesting. Way back when I first started, I actually dropped out of high school and I did what they called an apprenticeship, and an apprenticeship sounds like your internship process. So yeah, I actually did an apprenticeship for 6 years of my working life. So I didn't.
Wow.
I always said to people I didn't have a real job until after my 7th year of working. But I don't know about you, but I found that working in every functional place in a company gave me a huge grounding. And it also, like you, I think it probably allowed me to decide the things I didn't want to do in my future, because I got real life experience of doing them, and I didn't like doing them. So from your internships, what would you, what are your top talents that you've discovered that you'd like to share with everybody here?
Sure, that's another great question. So what I really discovered was, the first thing was that I love communicating. I love speaking to people. And I always knew I'm a very outgoing and an extroverted person. But, communication is an art, is what I believe. And the ones who learn how to communicate effectively are halfway through it. I mean, you have half the battle won. So I understood that I'm good with speaking to people and maybe, influencing them in a way wherein I can negotiate things, I can pitch to a client, I can close deals. That's something which I'm kind of good at. I'm good at convincing people, right? And other than that, I guess, again, problem solving was one thing which I identified, which I'm good at, maybe structuring things and just coming to a conclusion based on various assumptions. And the last one would have to be probably just time management. I think that's one of my top skills, is what I believe, because I was able to juggle between a couple of internships, and even right now I juggle between my personal commitments, my mentorship work that I do, as well as my full-time job. So time management was another thing which I found out that I'm good at.
Okay. So I wanted to dispel a myth about communication. For some people, you don't have to be extrovert in tendency. And the reason I know that is behaviorally, or the behavioral studies I take, I'm actually introverted myself. So I have had to train myself to be an outward communicator. I wish I was an outward communicator, more like you, Dhairya. So I respect that, and I know how much that takes. And I know there's other people joining this live that are probably can relate to that. They might be introvert by nature, but you summed it up. Communication, I think you called it a nut. Is that what you meant? A golden nugget? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I said it's a golden nugget, and I said that it's an art. It's an art. Communication is an art in itself. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So great advice. So if you're listening this either live or as a recording, which you can still comment to, yeah, if you're not sure about a skill to upskill in, then take it from this women in leadership who was a technical person who's now become more of a consultative role and yeah, communication, right?
True. Right.
True. So, which part of the region of India are you in? I forgot to ask you that. So tell us
Okay.
a little bit more
Yeah.
about your region that you work in there.
Sure. So I'm originally, I was born in Ahmedabad, which is a city in Gujarat. So Gujarat is
Mhm,
a state in India, but I'm working in Maharashtra in Mumbai. Mumbai is most probably a city which people even abroad have heard of because it's like the financial capital of India. And so
mhm.
Mumbai is the place where I'm actually placed. That's my work location. But because of the pandemic, I'm obviously back here in my hometown in Ahmedabad with my grandparents and my family.
Oh, okay. So if you had to travel to the office, do you take a jitney or a bus, or how do you do that? Help us understand you how you do that.
Yeah. So when I was working back then, I mean, when we could actually go to office in person physically, I used
Mhm.
to sometimes take up an auto rickshaw. So an auto rickshaw does not exist in the US per
Right.
se, but yeah, but we I used to take an auto rickshaw at times, and sometimes I used to always order a cab, a Ola or a Uber, and that's how I used to commute.
I think so. The rickshaw is either a manual or a automotive one, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, it is an automated one now. Now you don't need to really, just need to just start the engine, and yeah, it's automated. You have electric rickshaws as well, which have started coming in. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Environmental friendly, huh?
finally, right, exactly.
Hitting Mumbai. That's right. So, how many
Yeah,
people are in your region? I think this is going to stagger a lot of people here in America. So, how many in your industrial region there? What's the
could you
population?
repeat
Yeah, the
the
population.
population?
Uh-huh.
We're 133. We're 133 crore people. So it's approximately 133 billion people. Yeah, in
Wow.
India,
Okay.
huge, huge population.
Right.
We're second, so we follow back right after China.
Right. So in the district, the financial district that your office is in, how many people are resident in Mumbai?
I'm not really sure of the exact statistics, but it's a highly densely populated city, and
Mhm.
give approximation for sure, like about, let's say, a crore at least, or maybe about 80 lakhs, 50 to 80 lakhs. That's an approximation. Very
Okay.
highly densely populated city. Yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay. So yeah. So if you're watching this and you're currently in science, technology, engineering, or math, and you want to know how to bridge over to more communication and consultancy, then Dhairya would be a fabulous resource for you. So, do you like to get direct messages, Dhairya, or how do you prefer people to communicate with you?
Yeah, I mean, I try and reply to direct messages as much as I can. And obviously, if you're connected to me, you will be able to find in my email as well. I reply to emails as well, but I think a direct message or an email works.
Oh, okay, good, awesome. So, I know you've been growing your network. So, for those of you that, or what advice would you give people about the power of engagement to grow your network, Dhairya? Because you mentioned that earlier. So,
Right.
talk a couple minutes about that.
Sure. So, more than the power of engagement, Bruce, I'd like to talk about the power of networking because, right,
Mhm.
networking goes hand in hand with engagement. They're like substitutes and bypass. So, uh, networking is a skill. Again, it's a skill. It's an art. Not everyone, even if you're an extrovert, not necessarily will you be a good networker. So it's a misconception that if you're an extrovert and you're good with talking to people, you are automatically a good networker. But um, networking actually requires you to be very, how do I say it? You have to be very, you know, aware of the fact that there are people in your domain, side of your domain, who are doing so much, right? And they're doing diverse things. Like, and you'll only know that once you network with them, and
Mm-hmm.
once you get to know what people are actually doing, be it starting your own podcast, hosting a live show, doing their freelance work as a side gig, running your own business, or
Mm-hmm.
even handling a job which is something very new or in demand in the market. So when you meet people from diverse backgrounds and you network with them, you grow as a person,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
share their experiences, you share your experiences with them. You get to know about the new skills which you can adapt to, maybe, or which you can imbibe from them, and you
Mm.
kind of get a different perspective and a different viewpoint on things. And
Right.
in general, it just widens your network and circle. And you never know who might maybe come in handy at any point of time, at
Mm-hmm.
any phase in your life. So having people from diverse backgrounds in your network always helps. At least it's always helped me. All the kind of opportunities that I've got, be it this LinkedIn Live with you, right? It was
Right.
because you maybe saw a post which Tisha put in with my name, and that's how we started interacting and engaging.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, once I started becoming active on LinkedIn, as I told you 3 months ago, and I
Mm-hmm.
started posting content on LinkedIn. It started getting visible to a large number of people. That's when I started networking, and when I started networking is when I started getting opportunities, be it
Mm-hmm.
speaking opportunities, taking webinars for colleges. Being a college student myself, I just graduated and I was speaking at college events, right? And be it calling people as guests on my show. That's because I network with people. That's why I have enough number of people to maybe look up to and call them as my potential guests at my show.
Right.
And right. And yeah, I mean, it's just helped me with a lot of opportunities in general.
Sure. So if you're relatively new to LinkedIn or the networking arena, I would highly recommend you look at Dhairya's post. She has some really good posts on that. And if I may, what I've learned, I've been on here a little bit longer than you, engaging just about 1 year. I didn't used to use LinkedIn before, but
Mm-hmm.
what I've learned is if you keep your networking around learning and prospering and growing, then those are the right, for me, those are the right things to do. And it's amazing who you can meet, and it's amazing what you can learn. And I, for me, it networking is a process. So it's not, it's not a random, just do it once in a while and then go away again. You have to be consistent and you have to stick with it. And the other great piece of advice I've had from people that are very good on LinkedIn is they say LinkedIn is about taking your connections offline. So he uses the phrase, as soon as you can, go linked off, meet people on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, but go linked off to build
Wow.
those
Yeah.
meaningful relationships, and you're not always going to be relevant to every connection, and that's okay as well. You just know that there's people that will jive with you, and there's people that won't, and that's okay, right?
Right. Bang on.
So
Spot on.
for sure. So I want to be respectful of Daria's time. She asked me if I could finish.
No
Just to,
worries. It's completely okay. No worries, Bruce. If you have any questions, from the audience, I'd be happy to take them up.
yeah, sure. So yeah, if you're seeing this live, please put your questions in here for Daria, and we will go back and she will answer them. If you're seeing this as a recording, thank you also for doing that. You can put your comments in as questions, and I wanted to thank Rever. They are my brand ambassador for this live today. And if you want to learn more about Rever, you can go to reverscore.com. So my final big question to you is, you mentioned mentoring, Dhairya. So what sort of mentoring are you doing, and how often are you doing that over there?
Yeah. So I've started mentoring students and professionals, Bruce. I help them with their resume building or, resume revamping. I help them with building good LinkedIn profile for yourself. And I also help them with any job interview preparation and guidance, career guidance that they need, public
Mm.
speaking and communication skills mentoring. So these are the major areas. I built my own website, which is called dhairyadecodes.com, and that was built by a dear friend of mine. And that's
Mhm.
where you go and you can check out my mentoring sessions and book in a session for yourself if you feel that um, you're in need of these things, and I'd be happy to help you.
Okay, could you say that website very slowly, and then I will actually
Sure.
have Gracie add it as a comment. Could you say that again, please?
It's called Dhairya, my name, Dhairya,
Mm-hmm.
Dhairya Decode, DECODES.com.
Oh,
Dhairya Decode.
Dhairya Decode. Okay, and that is because of your coding. You like your
No, because I'm decoding the art of
ah.
building the right resume. I'm decoding things like making the right LinkedIn profiles. I'm decoding that thing for you. So it's dharyadecode.com. Yeah.
Oh, that's very clever. I thought it was to do with your technical coding background that you.
No,
I know you say you don't
yeah.
like it very much, but you've done that before. So, all
Yeah.
right. So it's Daria period decoding.
It's dharyadecode.com.
Okay.
Dhairya decodes is together in one line.
All right. Awesome. So yeah. So if people are listening to that, okay.
They
Thank
can
you.
maybe they can probably check out my first featured post on LinkedIn. You click on it, that'll land you to my website directly in
Oh,
my
okay.
featured section on my LinkedIn profile.
All right, that's another. And what sort of age group of people are you mentoring, or doesn't it matter, Daria?
Doesn't really matter, but so far I actually completed my website completed about a month, Bruce, yesterday. So I launched
Hmm.
it on the 4th of September, and it's been about a month now. And I think I've mentored approximately 30 plus people in this month, and
Hmm.
they've ranged their, the age group has been somewhere between 20 years to even 30 years. Yeah, 20 to 30 is the age group that I've
Oh,
mentored people
right.
in.
So I have a term for those people. They're usually high potential leaders like yourself, or women in leadership like yourself, or they're high potential team members. So they understand the value and the power of mentoring, and a lot of people don't understand that, but those people that have used mentoring or are mentors, then they really understand the power of that. So
Sure.
again, if you're seeing this as a recording, we would entertain your questions, or if you would prefer to just direct message Daria, you can do that by finding her here on LinkedIn. She goes by her full name here, and you can just direct message her. So go ahead and do
Yeah.
that. So final comments, and then I'll let you go and have your dinner, Daria. So let you go eat.
Oh, thank you so much.
So what would be your final comment, final piece of advice for
Sure.
people in mentoring? What would that be?
Um, the final piece of advice or comment would be for everyone in general, not specifically for mentors. It
Hmm.
applies everywhere. Um, I would suggest people to start helping out others, because when you help others, the divine power, or if you believe in God, whatever you believe in, they kind of help you back. It comes around, what goes around comes around. And there's a
Hmm.
karmic cycle. So I believe in it very strongly that what you put out in the universe comes back to you, and it comes back multifold, not just
Hmm.
at the same length, right? So just if you have the influence, if you have the skills and you have the power, or just the privilege to help people out, please go ahead and do that, because trust me, it does wonders. And you won't maybe see those rewards coming in right away, but life rewards you in surprising ways. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree, and that is unbelievable advice for somebody so young in her career. So thank you for that. And I agree. I was taught when I first started networking back in 2006 in person. A lady said to me, "Hey, Bruce, you have to give before you get in this networking arena." So I try to be a give before I get person, and you're right, it comes back in so many different ways. So, well, thank you so much. It's Monday evening there in India, and so I'm gonna finish the live. But if you could wait just for a minute, Dhairya, here, that would be great, and I'll tie up with you. So. Thanks again, everybody, for listening, and thanks again for your positive comments here on the live feed. And if you're seeing this as a recording, then please let us have your comments or questions, and we'll come back and answer them later. So have a marvelous Monday to people in the US on all the time zones here. And it's going to be a marvelous night's sleep for you after dinner, right, Dhairya?
Yes, it is. And thank you everyone for joining in from whichever zone and city and country you joined in. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. All right, I'll talk to you in a minute, Dhairya. Hang on.
Sure.